appreciate you. Always great having you on, and have a good rest of your evening.
All right, thanks a lot, man, for letting me come on. You know, anytime you need me, I'm on here, man. Can't wait to start my show once again. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, and this is always fun, man. Chopping up with you, man. So shout out to everyone in the chat room, and God bless everyone, and thank you, man.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Thanks.
All right. That was Courtney Harden. Man, love getting him on the show, his perspective. His show, like I said, will be making a comeback. He'll be coming on the BS3 Sports and Music Network very soon. Shout out to the Queen, Miss Mocha Bella. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for everything that you do for the network. Still praying for your mom. Hopefully everything is all gravy there and that she's at home. Coming up next on the show, we will have ABM, Angry Black Man, a.k.a. Doc Bell, host of Posting in the Paint. But let's take a very quick break, and when we get back, we will have our next guest up on the line, and we will be taking calls towards the end of the show as well. You're tuned into the BS3 Sports Show right here on X Squad Radio.
We all hate when we have unexpected car problems. Well, I am here to tell you about a viable solution. Bay 11 Auto and my man Melvin. You have emission problems? Brakes need changing? Transmission slipping? Is your car just driving sluggish? No problem is too big. I live on the other side of town and I drive over an hour to a guy that I trust. Melvin is honest, dependable, and definitely not in the business to break your pockets. Come see the official mechanic, Melvin, at Bay 11 Auto. You will be glad you did. You can reach him at 1455 General Arts Road, Conyers, Georgia, or 404-295-5715. That's 404-295-5715.
What's up, everybody? It's your man Ice from the Kane and Ice Show. Hey, you're tuned in to Big Bad Ben of the BS3 Sports Show.
Welcome back to the BS3 Sports Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Talking NBA Finals, talking some of the sports news from the week. As you're coming in, give me your thoughts on the finals. Give me your thoughts on how you're feeling. Are you changing your opinion? Are you changing your opinion or your pick based on game number 1? So definitely meant to ask you, BS3, what do you think about Fury versus Wilder 2? Appreciate that. I was going to talk about that too, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now, I don't know how this is going to work because supposedly he is signed up to fight Ortiz, I thought. Now he's signing up to fight Fury. So I don't know how that's working exactly. I don't know if he's going to fight Ortiz first and then Fury, but I'm all in. Shout out to RC in the building. Thank you for tuning in. I'm all in on Wilder Fury Part 2 because in order for Wilder to show he's the clear-cut better fighter and winner, he is going to have to knock out Fury. Not in the last round, but I'm saying knock him out and then be laid out. I think that's what it's going to take. Now, the Ortiz fight, that seems like another pushover type fight. That seems like he's gonna punish that guy real quick. RC says Wilder versus Luis Ortiz. So that's going to be first. And then Fury 2020. Joshua fights tomorrow. Yes, he does fight I don't know, some guy. I think his last name is Ortiz. But anyone that these guys fight, normally, if it's not Fury, is the lower competition. Now, the good thing is, and I've said this, numerous people have said this, but I think we have to see Fury Wilder first, and then we'll see Joshua. And if Wilder loses, which I hope that does not happen, but if Wilder loses to Fury, I think he will run with the quickness to fight Anthony Joshua after that. I don't think he's going to lose, but Fury gave him everything. Fury gave him everything he got. And Joshua's going to fight Andy Ruiz coming up. All right, we got our next guest up on the line. The basketball expert, I had to get him on as we're talking NBA Finals. Doc Bell, host of Posting in the Paint. What's going on tonight?
What's going on, Ben?
Good, man. Appreciate you for calling in.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Definitely. So, right out the gate, give me your thoughts on NBA Finals Game 1 from start to finish.
Start to finish, Toronto played well. You always get I won't say excuse, you're always going to get the fallback for a team that's had a layoff. If they play well, they haven't missed a beat. If they struggle or don't win, then the layoff hurt them. But Toronto played well, and they withstood. Golden State didn't have the one big run, but they did get within 3 on the Boogie Cousins free throw. And every time they got close, Toronto made the plays to extend the lead, and they was able to hold on down the stretch in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the fourth.
Yeah. Now, was talking about this earlier. You've seen the injury with Iggy. Now, do you think that this could be something that's beyond just one game or beyond just one moment that happened last night? Do you think he's going to be out, possibly?
The report today, Steve Kerr said the MRI was okay and they think he's doing well. He'll play. But him being 35, that injury is not going to get better even with a couple of days rest. So he may feel good. But any play that could go out. You saw he held up pretty good until he made that little runner in the lane, and he came down lane. And if you look at the replay of when he had to steal on Kawhi double team and he got the breakaway dunk, he really didn't get up that high on that dunk. I know he was by himself, but that may be a thing that lingers the whole series. So I don't think he's going to be healthy or explosive. It's just a matter if he gets to the point where he has to be shut down at some point in the series, especially if Kevin Durant's not back at that time. He may have, when he's shut down, it could be dangerous for Golden State.
Definitely. Now, what was your pick before the final started, and has it changed?
No, my pick was Toronto in 7. I wanted to take them in 6, but I felt it would probably go 7. Golden State went 6 with the Clippers, 6 with Houston. And if you look at the Portland series, Portland was up double digits in almost every game and gave the game away. Give Golden State credit, championship team, big third quarter runs. But it's not exactly like they just dominated Portland. So I felt Toronto had a chance. They had some keys they had to do, but I picked them in 7, and I'm not changing that. I've seen people say Toronto in 5 or 6, but I'm still sticking to them in 7. I think Golden State will respond. It'll be a long series.
Yeah. Now, Siakam, man, talk about Siakam. The game he had, I think, probably the best game of his entire career. And you go to what Draymond said after the game, saying he let him get into a groove. And my comment was, I don't think it was a matter of Draymond letting him do anything. He took it. He took every opportunity he had, and he scored. He got to the bucket. He was shooting threes. He was being the player that he was throughout the season. So I want to get your thoughts on Siakam from the game and also Draymond's comments.
Siakam was incredible last night. I said on my show Thursday, previewing some of the keys for Toronto, I said he needs to outplay Draymond Green, and it's you think about it, Draymond Green had a triple-double. Points were on the low end of what he's been doing, what he had done in the Portland series. But when Draymond's flirting with a triple-double and his points are 15 or 16, Golden State with or without Kevin Durant are almost unbeatable. But Siakam to get 32, shoot over 80% from the field, I think it had been done by a couple guys. I think he had the finals record for most consecutive field goals made in a row last night. So, I mean, he was incredible. I think Draymond, his comment of saying he let him get going, he didn't elaborate on it, but I think what he meant was he gave him some open shots early, like where they kind of played the percentages. Siakam hadn't shot the three well. But as an NBA player, any player playing basketball, once you get going, your confidence, playing at home, he got on the roll. And I think the shot that kind of summed it up is he went across the lane, I think on Sean Livingston. Boogie came over, and Siakam kind of shot a running hook. Really wasn't even kind of looking at the basket, and it went in off the glass. That kind of summed up the night. He was huge, especially on the night where Kyle Lowry didn't do it shooting-wise. And Kawhi Leonard, again, 23 points, most of that coming from him manufacturing points by getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, and I think I think you mentioned this. Toronto has to duplicate this 3 times, not in a row, obviously, but they got to do it 3 more times. And Kawhi wasn't, stats-wise, he wasn't a huge contributor like he's been previously. But to me, this shows that they have more depth than what people thought, especially than what I thought. You know, Van Fleet did his thing with 15. Kawhi had 23. Lowry gave you 7. Danny Green was huge, 3 for 7. It seemed like whatever he was throwing up, he was making. And I know you were mentioning too in your group chat that Tar Heel Nation, Tar Heel, Danny Green was doing his thing, came back from the dead, came back with some orange shoes on. My wife was saying, looked like he playing in Timberlands, but he did his thing. He did his thing. Talk about Danny Green and also, do you think the Raptors can duplicate this play 3 other times throughout the rest of the series?
That's what it's going to take, whether Kevin Durant returns, whether Iguodala holds up. You know Golden State is going to respond. Games will probably come down the stretch. Last night was right there for Golden State, same way they walked down Portland, generally doing it in the third quarter. But I think for Toronto, last night was the key. If Toronto loses last night with the whole country behind them, Golden State haters in the U.S., everybody's sitting here today, and they're like, oh, they're probably going to get swept, even if KD doesn't play. The whole narrative would have changed. But for Toronto, the keys for them, to me, I think Kawhi will be Kawhi. But they need Siakam to outplay Draymond Green. And it doesn't mean scoring 32. It just means stats-wise, he needs to be an all-star type player, as he was at times in the Philly series. And it was key. When he didn't play well, Toronto struggled. It was all Kawhi. And I think the Beige brothers for the Toronto Raptors, their version of the Beige brothers, Norman Powell, Fred Van Fleet, shout out to the Missouri Valley in Wichita State, used to be in the Valley, and Danny Green. 2 of those 3 guys have to get in double figures each game. They got 2 last night, Fred Van Fleet, Danny Green. And I think combined, any of the 3 combining have to shoot 40% from the 3. Last night they were just under that, about 36% from the 3. But they need to get that production from those guys, Kawhi being Kawhi, and then get Siakam. And Marc Gasol has to be huge. Last night he had open shots, but I stated when they switch, which Golden State will do, these teams don't even try to get through screens. They just, if there's a fake screen, they just automatically switch. He has to punish Golden State, whether it's Klay Thompson. Last night he got Steph Curry in the post, throw it into him, and he needs to get buckets down there, make Golden State pay. They have more size, more strength than Golden State. So those are the guys you need to watch Sunday night, next Wednesday in Oakland. See how those guys play, and that'll determine whether Toronto's right there to win the game. Kyle Lowry has progressed in this playoffs from past where we always looked at his shooting, and I said it. Don't look at Kyle Lowry's scoring numbers. on if he's effective in the game. He gets assists. He gets rebounds. He takes charges. He did all three of those things last night, even though